Welcome to this session. The theme of this session is UNESCO Creative City Network, City of Gastronomy. This session aims to introduce UNESCO Creative Cities Network and share about the designation process and experiences from Phuket and Kuching being the cities of gastronomy. My name is Mandy. I am from the University of Nottingham, Malaysia, and I will be chairing this session together with Datin Dona, who will also be one of the speakers. Without further ado, I would like to introduce our first speaker, Datin Dona. Datin Dona has long had an interest in the culture and heritage of Sarawak. She is actively involved in social and NGO work. She is the current chairman of the Culinary Heritage and Arts Society Sarawak, in short, CANFF.
Hi, Mandy. Thank you so much for that introduction. Today, I'm going to explain to you guys about Kuching as a creative city of gastronomy and how we applied for this recognition, who we worked with, and the steps that we had to go through. And later on, my colleague Karen will explain to you what our future plans are and how we're going to be able to maintain this recognition. So this idea was first mooted during one of our tourism meetings that we had in Kuching. And it was brought up by Mr. Edric Ong from Society Atelier, who highlighted to us that UNESCO actually has this network where it recognizes 7 different fields, one of which is gastronomy. The other ones are media, film, literature, just to name some of them. So our society, the CHAS Culinary Heritage and Arts Society Sarawak, worked together with Atelier, and we worked with the city of Kuching, the city councils, Ministry of Tourism as well. And so I'll just let you know today what some of the steps were. So what is the Creative City Network? So the Creative City Network, or CCN, but we speak of it as UCCN, so it's UNESCO Creative City Network, lists different cities which prioritize and develop the creative economy towards basically achieving the UN SDGs, or Sustainable Development Goals. So it's a UNESCO initiative. It now has 295 cities worldwide. Previously, it was about 246. And I think they do the call every 2 years. And in the last call, they added on almost another 50 new cities. And listed here are the different creative fields: craft and folk arts, media arts, film, design, literature, music, and gastronomy. And currently, we now have 49 cities of gastronomy out of the 295 cities worldwide. And this network was first started in 2004. So what does Sarawak have, and why did we feel that we would be able to be recognized as a city of gastronomy? So you see here, we're very much a resource-based economy. Agriculture plays a very large part. Tourism also is one of the key economic drivers. And we're looking at growth in services such as the hospitality services, also wanting to increase our digital economy, marketing, helping the smallholders to market their goods through the digital economy. That's actually one of the bigger pushes that our state is going through right now. And of course, we have such a massive creative potential. As you can see, we have the festivals, we have our ingredients here where I'm showing you here the photo of the different types of rice that we have, from white to black, from normal rice to glutinous rice, and then of course the arts, and all of this is basically interwoven. So we have strong cultural traditions. We have about over 50 different ethnic groups and sub-ethnic groups, and all of these maintain their cultural traditions, even from the Chinese to the Malays to the Dayaks and the Indians. And of course, we have numerous festivals, from music to food to crafts, and of course, our own very famous foods. So Sarawak already has its own existing tourism branding. So you're talking about culture, adventure, nature, food, and festivals. So you can see from the photos here, all of this is really what Sarawak has to present to the world. We have unique ingredients. You can see there buah dabai, which is our local black olive. We have our jungle ferns. We have endemic species of durian. And then you can see in the other photo there, the cooking that we do, we call it panso. So that's basically something that is cooked inside the bamboo. And we have our very decorative Sarawak kue lapis, which is layered cakes. And then we have various festivals, again, as I mentioned earlier. And so what are the benefits of becoming a city of gastronomy, part of the UNESCO network? So you can see here between domestic and international, there's growth of the creative economy, improved access to cultural life and its economy for marginalized groups, preservation and development of cultural activities, civic pride. This is something that we have seen rising amongst the youth, which we're very happy to see, and community cohesion, increased access to education, urban and rural regeneration, and a more sustainable economy. And internationally, of course, you have knowledge exchange opportunities with other creative cities, exchange programs and networks, development of hubs for creativity and innovation, pilot projects that can be supported by UNESCO, studies and research and evaluation. So there's greater opportunities for you to work with the other cities for your studies and research, policy guidance. We learn from each other the best practices, establishing Kuching and Sarawak in the international consciousness, and the title, and of course, potential increase in the gastronomic tourism. So what was the application process? So here, in case there may be many of you out there who are keen, so in any of the 7 different fields, this would be the same application process. And we were awarded in 2021, which meant that we went through the process in 2020. Karen, please correct me if I'm wrong. So I do believe that the application will be open again this year. So first of all, you have to get your mayor to buy in and to decide to get the city to decide that they want to be a part of this and to prepare the application. You have to establish your management and coordination team and your focal point. Karen is now our focal point. And you have to identify the relevant stakeholders. So we had to do research. We had to do contacts within the city of various NGOs. So we already had Atelier and Chaz, and then we approached other things like the institutions, educational institutions, and then regional and international. We had to seek national letters of support, as well as international letters of support for Kuching to be able to bid. And then step number 4, establish a consultative group, which involves the relevant stakeholders that we had spoken to. Implement relevant background research. So we researched agriculture, we have our biodiversity center, again, the universities and the schools. So these were all the other people that we had to include in our research for our application. And then you had to draft a midterm 4-year strategy and action plan. Karen will speak on this. And then again, on step number 7, plan your management unit responsible for undertaking the day-to-day activities of the network, because there is actually a lot that needs to be done. 8, propose an adequate budget and explore funding opportunities, because you have to realize that you have to spend some money in maintaining not only the unit that you're going to set up to run this, but also in running other programs, your action plans, etc. And then number 9, the mayor will write the formal letter presenting the application. 10, you obtain formal support from national professional associations. So we had 2, one from a women's empowerment group and one from the National Chefs Association. And then you had to obtain formal endorsement from your country's National Commission for UNESCO. So we had to do that. And then finally, of course, submit your applications with all the required documentations. So where do we go from here? What do we have? We have support from the city. We have support from the Ministry of Tourism. We also have private sector support because we're already working with the private sector in promoting some of their conferences and some of their educational programs. Support of the two NGOs and other NGOs that are now coming in. And of course, we have existing state government initiatives. And what do we need? We need funding to research and prepare the documentation and application. Sorry, this was what you need for your application. So you do need funding for research and to prepare the documentation and application because you have to do layouts. We did a video, which we will show you later on as well. And of course, you have to formalize your steering committee, develop your action plan, get funding to sustain the unit. So some of us are still working on that. And commitment for capacity from existing authorities for over the 4 to 5 year period and beyond, because this is something that you have to work to maintain. It's not something that you gain and then it will stay with you forever. Every 4 years, you have to submit a report and there actually is a reevaluation. So this was the timeline. We had actually worked on this for about just over a year. And then towards the end, so this is the last 2 months timeline that I'll be showing you. So it was basically, we had the budget approval, and then we started to get we got all the confirmed support national wise. Then we formed our steering committee. Here we had already done a lot of our research, and this was just the finalization. I think it was a 72-page report, wasn't it, Karen, in the end? And so we did our research, our interviewing, and we actually, the submission deadline was actually in July, but we gave us 1 month because we had to submit everything to the city and also to the Ministry of Tourism. And we gave us 1 month just in case there was anything that they felt that we should change or if there was more research that we needed to do. So this was basically the last 2 months of our final submission. And so this was our bid application. We came up with, we were allowed 2 links. So we had one, which was a written report, which Karen wrote and we all worked on in the research. And one was a video, which we will show you later.
Thank you, Datin Donna, for the informative and insightful sharing. By watching the video, it has indeed awakened every single cells in my taste buds. So that really makes me mouth-watering, okay? Next, I would like to introduce our second speaker, Dr. Tattiyaporn from Thailand. Dr. Tattiyaporn is an assistant professor and the head of hospitality management from the Faculty of Hospitality and Tourism, Prince of Songkhla University, Phuket campus. Dr. Tattiyaporn will be sharing the Phuket experience, being the first city in ASEAN that has been recognized by UNESCO as the city of gastronomy. Over to you, Doctor.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mandy, for such a very nice introduction. Once again, a warm greetings to everybody who is watching this conference from around the world. So I am Tattiyaporn Jarumanirat from Thailand, from Phuket, the city of gastronomy. So may I share my screen? Okay, so thank you very much for inviting me to be speaking about the story of Phuket as a city of gastronomy, as well as some of the example of projects and initiatives that Phuket has been carried out since 2015, the years that the city has been designated by UNESCO as a city of gastronomy. So what I would like to be sharing, as I mentioned earlier, I would like to be sharing about the history, the story of Phuket as a city of gastronomy, and now the examples of projects that we are carrying out on the 3 pillars of sustainability. So Phuket, city of gastronomy, we have been designated since 2015, and the organization that initiated the application is actually the Phuket City Municipality. And since then, Phuket City of Municipality has been carrying out projects in collaboration with private sector as well as education sector. And I am one of the focal point members of Phuket. When I say members, because we are not working alone, we are working together with private sector as well. So there are some industry representatives joining us as the focal point team. So before I start telling the history of Phuket as a city of gastronomy, I would like to take this moment to share you a video clip about 3 minutes long that talks about why we are city of gastronomy by UNESCO. So may I share my video? Okay, so just a moment.
Phuket, UNESCO, Creative City.
Maybe cut. Okay, so I think I'll share it again just to ensure that the screen is there. So at this moment, I would like to share a 3 minute long of video that show the history and why we are a city of gastronomy.
Of gastronomy. Phuket, UNESCO, Creative City of Gastronomy.อาหารภูเก็ตคือมรดกทางวัฒนธรรมที่ผสมผสานระหว่างชาวจีนพ้นทะเลกับคนพื้นถิ่นภูเก็ตจากยุคเหมืองดีบุกถ่ายทอดจากรุ่นสู่รุ่นผ่านความเชื่อประเพณีและวิถีชีวิตด้วยวัตถุดิบชั้นเลิศอันอุดมสมบูรณ์ท่ามกลางหมู่เกาะในทะเลอันดามันจนเกิดเป็นอัตลักษณ์
That video just provides just a snapshot of what Phuket as a city of gastronomy. So may I then return to my PowerPoint? Okay, so this is what we left off. We talked about the stories where and when Phuket has become a city of gastronomy, and the questions remains why we are declared as a city of gastronomy. We believe that food is part of our culture, an integral part of our culture. It is an intangible elements of our culture that can be a powerful tool to stimulate the local economy as well as to help to rebrand Phuket, because Phuket has become renowned for tourist attraction, for beautiful beaches and being island, but not many people is aware that we also have a very wonderful local gastronomic heritage. So since 2015, we have become a city of gastronomy by UNESCO, and in the beginning of 2015, we were one of the only city in ASEAN. But now, starting in 2021, we are not alone in this journey anymore, because we welcome 2 members from ASEAN's country, one from Thailand, Phetchaburi, and of course from Kuching in Malaysia. So the reasons that we are city of gastronomy from day one, because we have a variety of cuisines, we have a wonderful seafood, but that's not the end there. I really like this picture here that I would like to. This picture speaks 1,000 words. And I actually use this picture in our monitoring report as well, when we report 4 years performance of Phuket. This picture speaks by itself that we have a wonderful culture, diversity in our culture, and this culture is reflecting in our food culture as well. And we have a strong, distinctive recipes that share and then pass on from one generation to another generation in the family. And another very important reason is that food is connected with everyday life, important part of Phuket's people's life occasion. For example, here, in the first month, when the baby was 1 month old, the family would cook these 3 beautiful snacks called Eo Pung, Angu Goi, and Ho Goi. So we cook this dessert, these 3 snacks, and bring to the families to celebrate 1 month old baby. We still carry on these traditions from many years ago until today. And now that's one occasion, this is important. And then we have another very important occasion, which is, this is another picture. We also offer this kind of desserts during this festival called Poto Festival. Poto Festival is actually in August. We believe that in Chinese culture, this time of the year is when the relatives that pass away have returned from the heaven. So we will offer this dessert to the Chinese temple to offer to the God for blessing, as well as to offer these for our family who passed away. So as you can see, the 2 important occasions are already connected with our food. And another occasion which is important is the wedding. We have this special food container, very influenced by Malay Baba culture. We will put the dessert, snack, as well as beautiful jewelry in this beautiful food container called Siet Na. So in another term, Siet Na is actually a gift of love that the groom will offer to the bride in a special occasions wedding. So as you can see, 3 important occasions are already connected with food and the culture of Phuket people. And it's not finishing there. We also have a wonderful pineapple. Phuket pineapple is actually has received the GI or geographical indications. So, but this is not just another fruit. We also have pineapple offering in Chinese temple, and it has a name called Ong Lai. And we believe that Ong Lai will bring in prosperity and good fortune to the family. So as you can see, 4 important occasions are connected with our food. So now we have been designated by UNESCO as a city of gastronomy. So what have we been doing in order to leverage or stimulate the local economies as well as the well-being of the people in Phuket? So I have some example of key initiatives and activities that funded by Phuket, City of Phuket Municipality, and they work very closely with my university, Prince of Songkhla University. So these are some of the examples that we have been doing in order to put gastronomy heritage as the central part, the integral part to drive economic development, social development, and to improve the environment, so that in the end, the well-being of Phuket people will be enhanced. So some of the examples of projects To begin with, I would like to begin with this project. It's called Creativity and Community Capacity Building. As you can see from these photos, we have senior citizens of our society are invited to do something. So let me tell you what they have been doing. So we invite representatives from 4 communities in Phuket. And these 4 communities are actually an integral part of food supply chain of Phuket, starting with Gamala. Gamala is a community that, we grow vegetables. Manik, that is where we have animal farms. Bole, that is a seafood village. And Old Town of Phuket, this is the downstream of food supply chain because we have lots of tourists visiting Old Town of Phuket. So we work very closely with them, inviting them to our universities, and then we provide them a series of trainings and workshops to raise the awareness about city of gastronomy, storytelling, and the gastronomic tourism. And then we have a workshop on creativity to turn this wonderful local produce into something much more creative menus so that we can increase the economic value. And after we have done the workshop, we actually produce a video that highlight this new gastronomic tourism route under the concept of local to table. And then in order to make sure that people knows about this gastronomic tourism, we also organize a press conference, which is in 2021 during the peak of COVID-19. So we did organize this press conference in online mode. Okay, and then this is one example. Another example of projects run by City of Phuket and working closely with Prince of Songkhla University, the Faculty of Hospitality and Tourism. We run a workshop about gastronomy and digital marketing. As you can see from these photos, we have a workshop on how to take photos, photo of food. Okay, we invite the restaurateur, the owner of the restaurants in Phuket, particularly the traditional local cuisine restaurants owner. We invite them and teach them how to take photos, how to even, this is some example of photo taken by our participants. Okay, it's not a non-ordinary local cuisine anymore, so it looks much more beautiful. And not only that, we also run a workshop, one-to-one workshop with this restaurant owner, how to do social media marketing. We start from even how to set up a Facebook page, okay, so that the restaurant owner know how to do the digital marketing. That's the 2 projects that I mentioned earlier, talks about economic values, about social well-being. The next one talks about local heritage preservation. So we actually, this is a project that we work together with the restaurant owner, interview 35 restaurants to talk about what is good thing, what is the good recipe, the historical background of the restaurant, the signature, the secret recipe, the success factor of the restaurants, and some of the local cuisine that need preservation. And after interview 35 restaurants around Phuket, we come up with 10 training modules under Phuket Gastronomy curriculum. So actually one of these modules has already been carried out in the project called Digital Marketing Workshop. So we would like to make sure that our restaurant owners, our local people learn about Phuket gastronomy through these 10 modules. And not only that, now we are, since I have just came back from the meetings in Brazil, and Donna and Karen were there too. And they talk about what is the future initiatives that we need to do as a city of gastronomy. And UNESCO would like us to strengthen the activity to be in line with these 6 priority issues. And I actually chair these 6 priority issues with Phuket's municipality. So from now on, our future activities have to be planned in line to drive and fulfill these UNESCO priority area, talking about African and small island developing states, technology and innovation, gender equality and youth engagement, climate resilience and actions, international collaboration, and to help the local community about after post-COVID to recover and to make sure they are resilient and sustainable afterward. Okay, so that is the end of my presentation. Once again, thank you very much for a warm introduction, warm invitation to join this conference. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Tatia Porn. And yes, we did meet you in Brazil when Karen and I attended our very first conference for the UNESCO Creative Cities Networks. And we hope to see you again in Istanbul next year. And so next up, we have my colleague, Karen Shepard. She is our Strategic Director for the UCCN Kuching Creative City of Gastronomy. And she is our focal point under UNESCO. So ladies and gentlemen, now let us hear Karen.
Well, thank you very much, Donna. And as everyone has pointed out multiple times, this is really a knowledge sharing platform. So it's very nice to hear from Dr. Tatia Porn, because in fact, whether she knows this or not, we were knowledge sharing with Phuket before we even joined the network, because we were able to look at the other cities' monitoring reports. And Phuket was one of the models that we looked at, being our sister city in ASEAN, if you like. Unlike Phuket, we are just newly designated in Kuching, and I think Datin has taken us a little bit through the process and, of course, why we wanted to designate under this network. And as you can see, I'm going to be looking a little bit as a new city at the next 4 years. So really, ours is very much in its infancy, our project. I want to talk a little bit about, well, I mean, my question up here is, what does the network offer us? I must say, though it might sound counterintuitive, UNESCO actually doesn't do anything for you. One of the key things about this network is, in fact, it relies on your domestic policy agenda. You, as a creative city, need to do this for yourself. So when it comes to the application process, it comes in really 2 parts. The first part of the application is what your city has been doing for the last 3 to 5, 10, 20 years to support your own gastronomic sector. UNESCO are not implementing projects on your behalf. They are encouraging cities who already have a developed gastronomy policy and a developed policy to achieve the UN Sustainable Development Goals to join this network and to join other cities who are like-minded. The other part of your application form, of course, is your action plan. So it's not just about what you have done in the past, it's about what you're going to do in the next 4 years, 8 years, forever, perhaps. And I just mentioned the monitoring report. At the end of 4 years, UNESCO do come and check what you've been doing. You have a city audit, and they want to see whether you are, well, for want of a better word, worthy of membership of the network on a continuing basis. And Phuket have been through this once already, haven't you? Yeah, so and probably coming up on your 2nd monitoring report. So we're at a very, very different stage. So if UNESCO don't really offer us, well, if they don't do anything for us, I'd just like to clarify now, what does the network offer us? Well, it offers us this. It offers us this UNESCO, this image of UNESCO. And UNESCO is, of course, such a well-known ideal around the world. And it's been mentioned a couple of times today, this ideal of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So this network in particular is looking at achieving the UN Sustainable Development Goals through the development of the creative economy. So this particular set of ideals offers us, in the first place, branding. Excuse me, I'm sorry, that was my cat who decided to jump in front of me. Do you want me to start again? Oh no, I'll just continue on a little bit, shall I?
Just restart on this slide.
Yeah, okay, I'll restart on this. I'm sorry, my cat decided she wanted to jump up on the table. Okay, so as I said, well, UNESCO is a very well-known ideal around the world. So one of the things that it does offer a city is branding. As I mentioned before, this relies very much on the fact that you are already a sustainable and responsible destination. You do already have a unique gastronomic offering, and you are driven by creativity on a domestic level. By joining the network and becoming a member of the Creative Cities Network, you then are able to effectively broadcast that to the world. You are allied to the ideals of this global network, which are, among other things, the UN Sustainable Development Goals. As with corporations, if you'll forgive the analogy, most corporations develop brands so that they can get brand recognition. And so obviously, once you have the UNESCO brand, then a number of opportunities become open to you. So from trade to public awareness of your gastronomic offering. So these are probably very direct. And this is talking about promotion for tourism, but obviously tourism of a particular type. So by allying yourself with the Creative Cities Network, you are encouraging the type of tourists who are looking for the kind of destination that you have branded yourself as a responsible and sustainable destination. The other thing about it is by creating this kind of profile, as I think both Dr. Tatyaporn and Donna have kind of shared, is you then get to link up with other like-minded cities. And this is where the beauty of the network starts to appear. This can be linked up in individual projects, in cross-promotion of yourself as a city of gastronomy. So we're here on the same platform with Phuket tonight. And that can also run to research and educational opportunities, as Donna was talking about, perhaps into confinement foods, perhaps into shared cultures or shared practices. Following this, we start to get into slightly more ephemeral ideas, I suppose, of benefit. Connection. Now, we've just come back from a conference in Brazil, which was really an incredibly uplifting experience. And just prior to our conference in Brazil, we held an open forum here in Kuching to prepare ourselves to get to know what our gastronomic stakeholders and our creative players were interested in. So really, to me, this is the first point about the network, about membership of the Creative Cities Network. You start to become a meeting point for a number of domestic stakeholders. So in our open forum, we had tourism players, hoteliers, restaurateurs, even people who make equipment for kitchens. We had people who supply ingredients, a whole range of people who came along to take part in the open forum. And with that information, we are then able to go to Brazil and meet up with a range of international cities, all who are having similar experiences and running similar programs. So we are not only able to connect our city to this international network, but we're also able to connect our individual domestic stakeholders, both to each other and to international partners like Phuket. And as Dr. Tatyaporn has already alluded to, one of the key ideas also, and this is really a very aspirational for me aspect of joining the network. And this is, as I put it here, the opportunity to participate in really the biggest discussions of our time. These are some of the transversal themes that Dr. Tatyaporn was talking about before, about UNESCO themes, but also themes of food security, which are more relevant to our gastronomy sub-network. But all the themes that are included in the UN Sustainable Development Goals, as a creative city of gastronomy, we then get to participate in that story and that discussion with other cities who have chosen to take part in this. And obviously that comes down to UN SDG 17, partnerships for the goals. And if you can see the graphic, this is a map of the creative cities of gastronomy currently in the world. And you can see the enormous spread of cities, though there are only 3 in ASEAN currently, as has been pointed out already. I think there will probably be more coming up soon. So that's a little bit about what we might get out of it, but it also kind of sets up a little bit about what we're going to do over the next 4 years, and it flows from these ideas that I've just put forward. So each city puts forward their own action plan. We talk a little bit about our unique gastronomic identity. While we share a lot of elements with Phuket, I think because of geography and proximity and a shared culture and history in some respects, each city has its own unique cultural identity and its own unique gastronomic identity. So in the end, each city joins for its own reasons. These are our reasons, particularly in Kuching. So obviously, something that most cities share, they want to stimulate growth in their creative ecosystem. But for us in Kuching, our application was really based on two twin ideas. The first being the biodiversity of Borneo, which is really, so Sarawak has is found in one of the most biodiverse rainforests on Earth. And we have a lot of ingredients here that are either A, not found anywhere else in the world, or B, not eaten anywhere else in the world. And the reason that they're not eaten anywhere else in the world is because we are lucky enough to have a very close relationship between our indigenous people and our biodiversity going back over thousands of years. So that's our first stream. And then our second stream is our multicultural population. So I think very like Phuket, we've seen migration in and out of Sarawak over hundreds of years. And this has created, if you'll forgive the phrase, the culinary melting pot. So that's shared techniques, shared flavors over hundreds of years, and shared cultures, which has created this incredibly diverse culinary background, some of which is shared with West Malaysia, with the rest of Malaysia, some of which is very unique to Sarawak. So obviously we need to preserve that both in our ingredients and also our techniques, but then also to push that forward into the future through improving our capacity, our capabilities, and also through tourism and awareness. So tourism and awareness is a goal in itself. We want to share our food with other people, but also it's one thing that UNESCO really recognized under this particular network is that responsible tourism can be a spur both to growth and to preservation of our cultural identity. And I think this is really where this network becomes very important and very interesting. And obviously, the final thing is to work towards the UN Sustainable Development Goals, in this case, particularly a sustainable food chain here in Sarawak. So our 4-year action plan, this is our commitment to UNESCO, and this is what was included in our application form. And I think, Dr. Tatiapon was sharing retrospectively a little bit some of the projects that they have been doing, and we will be doing similar projects going forward. I think, the idea is that we're all working to common goals. So the key to this particular network is that it is a knowledge sharing platform. I think we are all working on quite similar projects. And this is the beauty of the network, because we are all learning from each other. We're looking at Phuket's monitoring report, working out what they've been doing, what's worked for their communities, and we will implement that, adjust and implement for Sarawak. But this is our particular Sarawak action plan. We actually are proposing to build a public infrastructure project, which is a gastronomy center. But effectively, the purpose of the gastronomy center is to function as a community hub. So this is where our traditional gastronomic sector will meet our gastronomic future, I suppose, where creativity meets culture, where rural Sarawak meets urban Sarawak. And so this is where the entire program will kind of be managed from in the future, providing economic opportunity for our gastronomic players, but also experimentation for our chefs, a meeting place for our communities, all of the above. Leading up to that, and then obviously beyond, once we have our gastronomy center in place, we will be looking at a series of capacity building and awareness raising exercises. So the first of which is to create and curate sustainable gastronomic tourism packages. This has not really been a key feature of tourism in Sarawak before. Rather, food has always been bolted on to tours. But we are looking now at making food the focus of these tours going forward. We also, as I said, capacity building is going to be key in health and hygiene, in knowledge building. We might even pick up some of Phuket's marvelous examples. We're particularly talking in the first year about putting education providers together with heritage chefs, so that we can see how our heritage recipes and our intergenerational transmission, which I know is a key feature for Phuket, can work into our culinary education. We're also looking at a branding and benchmarking campaign. This is partly to promote public awareness of our particular Sarawak products, but also to make sure that we have sustainable standards, that we are implementing this up and down the food chain. And this campaign will work either for products or services, or even for tourism packages, so that they are responsible, sustainable, and allied with the goals of this network. And we're also looking particularly at chefs exchanges. I believe that Malaysia and Thailand are negotiating a chefs exchange for sometime in September. But with 49 cities of gastronomy to choose from, we're then able to send our chefs overseas to share our techniques and our ingredients, and people will be able to come here and show our public what an incredible range of gastronomy there is available in this network. So this is our commitment over 4 years. This is what was included in our action plan. Before I go, this is my penultimate slide. And this is something that I think that we've all alluded to at numerous occasions already. The key is that this is a highly collaborative framework. So this is the team that put together our bid video that Datin Donna showed earlier. A whole bunch of filmmakers, musicians, artists, craft and folk art practitioners, actors, and of course, gastronomic specialists. And this is really the key to this action plan going forward, that actually it draws together all these different actors in the city to work towards a common goal. And that is, well, the achievement of the UN Sustainable Development Goals, sustainable cities, if you like, a sustainable city for Kuching. And then from there, to join that up into this amazing international network. So you can see here that it's both got tourism potential, it speaks to visitors and it speaks to the world, but it also speaks domestically to our own people. And that's effectively how it works. So I've introduced you to our action plan already, but effectively the action plan is just the start of it. And I don't know if Dr. Thathiapon feels the same thing. As you start to collaborate with other cities, you start to see the possibilities really open up. We all just came back from Brazil. You'll get to see not only what other cities of gastronomy are doing, but cities of design, cities of music, cities of media art, and you can see this amazing spread of activities going around in all these cities around the world. And not only do you suddenly think to yourself, I want to go there. This is an image that was sent to us by Florianopolis, a city in Brazil, whose specialty is oysters. And suddenly you're thinking, there are so many places to see in the world, the kind of places that that me as a tourist, for example, would like to go to, on the basis that this destination cares about the same things perhaps that I care about. But effectively, once you're in this network, the possibilities are endless. So you can link up with any creative city that you like, propose a project, and if you both have an interest in it, you can work on it together. And to me, I've ended there with the creative imagination is unlimited. And I think this is really, to me, the beauty of this network, whether it's in tourism, whether it's in cooking, whether it's in culture, filmmaking, it doesn't really matter. So I think that I will end there with my idea of the creative imagination. And that's it, I think. I think applications for designation will be open this year for submission next year, if any cities are interested.
All right, thank you, Karen. So there you have it. It's we've shown you the process, we've shown you what the network has to offer. And as Karen said, I think coming back after the conference in Brazil, you just see so many opportunities. You get so many ideas from what other people are doing. Like there was a city of design and how they used empty spaces within their city. And there's something, when you experience and hear what other people are doing, that is something that you can bring back to your city. And this is something that the whole network can share. You can share with 249 other cities, and perhaps by next year they might add on another 50 cities. And this network is growing, and it's growing very fast. And so this is something that all countries can look at. You as a city can start the work and approach your municipalities, approach your local governments to be a part of the UNESCO Creative Cities Network.
Thank you, Datin Donna. Next, please allow me to share with you some important announcements. Please note that the session recording will be made available at the ICRTH 2022 program sections on www.responsibleborneo.com. If you need more information about the conference and other sessions, you may find information here too. An e-certificate of attendance will be issued to delegates who have completed a post-conference survey, and you may find the survey on the website as well. The survey will be closed after 1 week. For any queries about ICRTH 2022, please feel free to contact us via ICRTH2022@responsibleborneo.com. I would like to take this opportunity to thank our panel speakers, the organizers, and all of you who are present here. For those who are here physically, please be reminded that you are indeed in the beautiful city of gastronomy, Kuching. So please indulge yourself in the food, immerse in the local culture and heritage, experience the destination, and don't forget to embrace the spirit of being a responsible visitor or tourist in tandem with the key theme of this conference. With this, thank you and hope you enjoy the sessions.